Hey everyone, how you doing? My name is Echo, and I hope you're having a great day. Today's Minecraft video, we're back on Minecraft Pocket Edition, the Bedrock version, for a brand new 1.16 Nether update beta. Today's beta version is 1.16.0.61, available for Android, Windows 10, and Xbox. Now, this week's beta has surprised me because this week there is a lot of changes, a lot of bug fixes, a lot of tweaks, a lot of improvements. There is even some parity features, so features have made their way from the Java version to the Bedrock version. And last but not least, they actually fixed an issue that I've talked about during every single beta video for the 1.16 version. Stick around in today's video and I will show you all the official changes. Now, I am still convinced we're getting closer and closer to the full release. Bedrock might take a little bit longer. I talked about this recently on my snapshot video. Java is just one version, it's just Java. Bedrock consists of multiple different platforms and devices, being iOS, Android, Windows 10, Xbox, Switch, and PlayStation 4. 6 Minecraft versions that all need to pass their testing before they can all be officially released. Now, we're in beta. As you guys know, I do enjoy using some custom resource pack add-ons. Just the beta text highlighted today. If you guys want to check it out yourself, there will be a link down below. I know a lot of you who just play in betas, you don't technically play in full releases. The latest full release is 1.14.60, and I do have a couple other resource packs installed today, custom hotbars, XP bar, and custom hunger bar. So if you see them in today's video, don't freak out, they're just things that I've been using for quite some time. Staying on the main menu, profile, skins. So remember when your skins don't load at all? That has now been fixed. There's been an issue with custom skins in the character creator just not loading at all. Even if you reload it multiple times, it resets it back to Alex or it resets it back to Steve. That is no longer the case, and we're going to go with the pancake today. I like the pancake. This is just a placeholder, by the way. I don't think this is officially going to be released. Alright guys, we have a lot to go through, so let's check out all this week's changes. Pancake is looking fresh. Now guys, if you could be kind enough to hit that like button on today's video. It took me quite some time to set up today's video, so I can break down and teach you guys what each bug fix does mean. Like I said, it's a pretty big bug fix, and as you can see, I have the custom hotbar installed. So starting with something that's been a while since we started with this bug fix, 6 several crashes that could occur during gameplay. So whenever you're just playing Minecraft and the game crashes and you're like, why Minecraft? That's what has been fixed. And the reason why this bug is in a lot of betas is because there's so many different Bedrock devices. So a lot of devices crash. The next one, fixed crash at launch on Samsung Galaxy S Duos 2. So if you use this type of device and it was crashing, it has been fixed in this version. Fixed crash that could occur in the end, very similar to the first one that I showed you. Whenever you're playing Minecraft and you're inside the end and it crashes, that has now been fixed. The /kill command no longer crashes the game while the Ender Dragon is respawning. So if you respawn the Ender Dragon and you do /kill, it no longer crashes the game. Random bug, but it has been fixed in this version. Next one, fixed crashes when changing dimensions, including going through portals with tamed animals. I notice a lot of lag whenever I go through portals, nether portals quite frequently, or even the end dimension. It's really laggy on the Bedrock version. It still needs to be optimized. Don't really see this issue too much on Java Edition, but on Bedrock, it is absolutely terrible. Regardless, it has been fixed. The next one, /fill command Soulfire no longer causes game crashes, and this is the specific command that people were using that would crash the official game. Fixed issue when reloading player using classic skins. That is what I think I was talking about at the start. No, this is the one I was talking about. For some reason, whenever people were using classic skins, that would cause crashes, but this is what I was talking about at the start. Improved reliability of loading characters. Move. Improved offline support for characters. Classic skins are now loaded before character-created skins on multiplayer servers, which would probably explain why at the start of a server you always see Steve's and Alex's. But they've kind of pushed this a little bit more, so they do load in more often. Or maybe all skins are Alex and Steve, and then they transform into their custom skins. Don't really know what this one means, because there was not too much details referring to it. Error messages now appear when uploading / downloading world file size that exceeds maximum. So I think if you are trying to upload or download a world that on your device or your platform and you don't have enough space, it would pop up with an error message saying basically your device does not have enough memory or enough space. Pretty good one, because I know personally for people who download my worlds, they do have a couple of issues. Fixed issue that could cause a failure when trying to import large world sizes with a limited space available on Windows 10. So that's just for Windows 10 users. Next one, changed. This is a really, really good change, actually. This is to do with the whole mob spawning, and this is also a really good one if you use armor stands quite actively. Changed mob cap population to count mobs. Let's start again. Changed mob population cap to only count mobs with spawn rules. So the official bug tracker, when it comes to this one, mentioned that if you have, okay, we'll just find one in here. If you have armor stands and you went into any world at all, they were testing it in a flat world, and you placed down hundreds of these guys, and then you turn the mob spawning on, no mob would spawn because the armor stand was basically taking up the mob cap. So if you had 200 of these placed down, no mobs would spawn at all. So this is also going to refer to single player worlds. A very, very, very good change. So armor stands no longer take up your mob cap. In case you guys didn't know that, you might have a ton of armor stands in your world and you never knew that that was the reason why a lot of mobs are not spawning. Don't forget, mob spawning and despawning is still a massive work in progress in the Bedrock version. It's going to take quite some time for that to be fixed. Mob despawning range is now tied to simulation range. So it's a really weird one as well. Mobs from farms, if you had mobs from farms and they would drop down, they would despawn halfway down. They would just disappear. It was a really strange bug. Now that's not going to be the case. I think it's based on like where you are at rather than, I think it's based like height-wise rather than it just being a complete mess. So these two changes I think are quite important in today's video. Fixed issue that caused villagers to not link up job sites correctly in multiplayer worlds. Also happens in solo worlds. Villages are still a complete mess on the Bedrock version. Fixed an issue that could cause overlapping villages. Parity, water now freezes from the edges. Maybe someone can explain this to me. So I thought this was going to be linked to this, but it's a parity change. Like Java, water now freezes from the edges. I don't really, I mean, it just all instantly turns to ice. I'm not even sure if it's linked to Frostwalker, but according to the official changelog, that is exactly what it says. So I wasn't quite sure on this one, so I do apologize on that. Hopefully someone can clear that up in the comment section. Full damage protection now works as expected from tall heights. This is referring to two things. So your protection was not working correctly. So if you were falling from like 200 height, your protection wasn't taken into consideration. There's also one a little bit further down that is linked to feather falling. I'll wait until we get there to explain that in a little bit more detail. This is a really good change as well. Flying too fast using the elytra into unloaded chunks no longer causes death by kinetic energy. So what people were doing is they were going even faster than just the elytra. They were using riptides, because as you guys know, if it's raining, the riptide works. So / weather, and then we do rain. This is when this starts to work, as you guys can see. So people were using this. Can we do it again? Let me. There we go. Ready? So people were using this plus the elytra to fly very, very fast, and it would load in tons and tons of different chunks. It would cause you to go that fast that you would end up crashing into a world like border, and it would be classed as like a kinetic energy death. / weather. Clear. So for anybody who was using that method to get from A to B, that no longer happens. Now it says no longer causes death by kinetic energy. I'm not quite sure what is going to be classed as now. Somebody mess around with that, but don't do it in your ordinary survival worlds. Maybe a separate kind of world. Fix ravines not being positioned correctly compared to older versions. Again, I'm not quite sure what that is, but ravines were slightly off, I'm guessing. Fix players being able to dupe items by closing title when on respawn menu. So for anyone who died and they were on the menu, it says they died, they were able to basically dupe their items. I don't know how people figured these out, but it was reported and fixed. And the latest duplication glitch, which was linked to Cake, which was linked to the grinder, the grindstone, they've also been fixed in 1.16. Dropping items with curses of vanishing now works correctly. So if I have this on and I go to, So this is going to basically disappear. It wasn't disappearing previously. Don't forget, vanishing is classed as a negative enchantment. So we do / game mode survival. 3, 2, 1. Rest in peace, me. This is the menu I'm talking about. People were able to dupe it on there. And / game mode creative. If we go back to exactly where we were at, the item has disappeared. My armor stands are still there, but the diamond chestplate with vanishing has disappeared. Players can now only enchant 1 compass at a time using anvils. That's in survival. Not quite sure why they've done that, but anyway, they have. Fixed issue that caused redstone torches to get stuck on and off when reloading a world. So basically your redstone would work in one world. If you save and quit and then rejoin, it would basically not work. That's been fixed. We continue on. Next one. Fixed issue causing kelp to stop growing too soon. Kelp now checks the block in the ticking queue, so it will then know if it needs to grow or not. This is what I was referring to over there. So feather falling was very broken. Feather falling would save your life completely, or it would completely kill you and act as if you never had feather falling on. Feather falling / protection now gives correct player damage. So feather falling was like a percentage chance of it working. If you have feather falling 4, sometimes it would act as if you never had feather falling 4 on. Sometimes it would act if you had feather falling 2 or 3 or 4. It now is correct, okay? So if you have feather falling 1, you are always going to have feather falling 1. If you have feather falling 4, it's always going to refer to feather falling 4. Hey, look, there's a baby piggy. And also protection is the same as well. Pirates no longer get stuck in flight mode. Mobs that panic now do so for all damage types. Mobs that can pick up armor now prioritize iron over chain. So yeah, didn't know that they even did that, but mobs are now smart. Smart zombies. Walls now connect to most blocks placed above them. So some items, so the wall now connects to the wall correctly, now also connects to an item correctly as well. Would not do that previously, as mentioned in the official changes. Falling blocks are now broken by partial blocks that are placed above piston arms facing up. This is something that, I know Rob, my friend, has talked about this. Mushroom stems now drop correct block when mined using Silk Touch tools. So if we do / game mode S, this does not have to be a pick. It can be anything with Silk Touch on. So when you harvest this, it would not produce this. Whenever you harvest this, it would not produce this. Whenever you place this down and then try to Silk Touch it again, it would give you this one. Finally, guys, if you like to use the mushroom blocks for decoration, because I know the red ones are absolutely brilliant for decoration, you can now do that. A fantastic change that they finally fixed for a very long time. It's been requested. There has been some parity changes. Target block, redstone signal duration is now based on projectile. E.G, longer for tridents, shorter for eggs, as an example, shorter for snowballs as well. So if we throw a trident in here, the redstone signal is going to last a little bit longer as if we were doing this one. Same for eggs, same for arrows and stuff like that. So that is a very, very minor parity change that I think is very, very good. Conditional setting for command blocks is now saved when copying via structure block. So just to give you a very basic example here, inside of here we have the conditional and unconditional option. If you had it set as conditional and you used yourself a structure block to basically copy the command block, it would then revert back to unconditional. So basically whenever you're using a structure block and whatever you copy, it's going to copy it correctly. I'm not going to show you that. It's just a very, very basic thing. Fixed issue causing maps to be invisible. Paintings are now rendered correctly. Beacon beam is now rendering correctly. Flame animation now shows correctly on burning mobs. Fixed issue that stopped animated textures working correctly. So prime example in last week's one, flame being red flame would not, it would just be still as if it was just like a painting. And the same for this one as well. They have been fixed. Firework particles now appear correctly. Tooltip background now shows correctly. So in last week's one, if you had an item here, it would say flint and steel and equipment, but there would be no colored background to it. It would just be the text itself. We did talk about this, and I did say someone else would report it, and they did report it, and they did fix it. Fixed issues causing enchanted items to flicker. Players no longer prevented from selecting items when using touch controls with classic UI. This is referring to Android devices because iOS do not have beta. Fixed unhelpful error message when trying to play online without proper account permission. Not sure if this is linked to people who try and illegally download Minecraft. Just go and buy the game. Or it's linked to just being an unhelpful message that doesn't help you fix your issue. Fixed issue that prevented native text input when using Korean / I spelled it wrong, Chinese virtual keyboards. So on handheld devices, maybe even on Windows 10 or even Xbox, you can have different language, like, I don't know what the symbols. They basically weren't working. The next one, and the one we talk about every single time, somebody did tweet it towards me. Fixed text on signs extending past the sign edge. You probably noticed, and I wanted to tell you, that the text is no longer off by half a pixel. On every single sign, they have finally fixed it. Let's see if we can, like this one. This one being the L would previously be off it. Like, that is so tiny from still being off it, but it has been fixed. So that's something I'm pretty happy about. PARITY. Anvils now read enchantment costs rather than XP costs. That's from Java. And then we've got fixed issue that prevented inventory items from being selected when using touch controls with classic UI. And last but not least, guys, we do have some command changes. Refer to the changelog if you're interested in them. And we do have some add-on changes as well. I'm not much of an add-on creator, so that's not something I wanted to share in today's video. But for anyone who does use add-ons, there has been 3 or 4 different changes. Talk about a very long and much needed beta today. Very much needed. Glad that they've done this. Hopefully this video has helped you out as much as possible. We are super, super close, guys, to full release. It's coming. It's coming very, very soon. So stick around. Take care. Stay beautiful. Changelog is down below. And I'll catch you next time.